Coming up on Sports Paws, volleyball is on fire, starting 6-0 in the MAC.
And the women's ice hockey team opened their season against University of Maine Black Bears.
We both break down our stars of the week.
All that and more coming up on Sports Paws starting right now.
It's Monday night, and what does that mean? Another episode of Sports Paws. I'm Keenan Mills, and alongside me is Eli Ehlers. You excited for your first time on desk, Eli?
Absolutely, Keenan. I am feeling so good. Now let's go to the women's ice hockey team that opened up their season with a game against Maine on Saturday. Run the tape. The Quinnipiac ice hockey team hosts the Maine Black Bears for their regular season opener. The team is looking to start the season with a home opener win. Let's get right into the first period of action. 49 seconds into the action, Sadie Pierre gets the puck on the right wing and flies past the defenseman, shooting an absolute snipe to the top left corner to give the Bobcats the early 1-0 lead. Now 15 minutes into the period, the Bobcats came in on a 2-on-1 chance. The puck sits in the crease and the Maine defender covered it with their hand, which led to this Kendall Cooper penalty shot opportunity. As you can see on the screen, she comes in, fakes to the backhand and takes the shot, but LaRose keeps it 1-0 Bobcats. Maine forward Ida Kupala came down on a 2-on-1 chance and faked to the middle and took the shot from the slot, but Andres stood tall. Now heading into the second period action, Kate Riley is regrouping in her own defensive zone, sends an absolute dart to Julia Nearest, and she comes in on the breakaway opportunity and scores, putting it right through the 5-hole. Look at the absolute excitement from her teammates as she puts the Bobcats up 2-0. Now late in the period, Maine gets a 2-on-1 opportunity. Kate Riley defends it with an absolute ease, and Andres makes the easy save. Heading into the third period, Quinnipiac, Maine starts out with a big push here off a face-off. It gets back to the defenseman. She puts the shot on the net. It sits out in the high slot here, and Maine puts the shot on, but Andres gets the big stick save to keep the Bobcats in shutout fashion. Now Kendall Cooper will be coming up the ice, shoots it from the red line into the open cage to give the Bobcats a 3-0 win, and the team will flood the ice to celebrate with their goalie, Logan Andres.
A new face put one in the back of the net for the Bobcats. Q30's Anthony Rossi has more.
ECAC and Hockey East, two big conferences in both men's and women's ice hockey in the NCAA. Maine hailing from Hockey East and Quinnipiac hailing from the ECAC. Both played today as Quinnipiac defeated the Hockey East rivals 3-0 in shutout fashion. One player from the Hockey East transferred over this year to Quinnipiac. Her name, Julia Nearest.
Yeah, they're both outstanding in their own ways. They play the game differently, but Emerson, I thought, really had her feet moving today. She got in behind them a ton, and Julia just has great patience, and she has a knack for the net, finds a way to score. So we're excited to have them.
In her Bobcat debut, Nearest scored 2 minutes and 18 seconds into the second period by this amazing dish by Kate Riley. Nearest spoke about the difference between the ECAC and Hockey East and how it was like transferring from such a prestigious school like Boston University over to Hamden, Connecticut and Quinnipiac.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of hard work. It's pretty funny that my first game was against a Hockey East team. But other than that, yeah, no, this group's been, I'm very grateful to be a part of it. Cass expects everybody's best every day, and just looking forward to keep it going.
The Bobcats are not holding their heads too high, though, as they have another game against Maine tomorrow to finish off the doubleheader. Cass Turner looks to get her squad ready to go.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pieces. I think we played a little bit hopeful at times today, and I think we need to understand and recognize when it's the right time to jump in offensively, when it's not, and when there are battles, being in better positions so we can get pucks back quicker. So, I think there's a lot of really, really good things that we did today, some really good moments defensively especially, but we're going to keep pushing to get better for tomorrow.
Nearest and the Bobcats will take on the Black Bears once again on Saturday at 3 p.m. Reporting from M&T Bank Arena, I'm Anthony Rossi, Q30 Sports.
Julia Nearest and the rest of the Bobcats were right back to action on Saturday afternoon. Quinnipiac versus Maine, round 2 of the weekend. Quinnipiac looking for the weekend sweep. Maine looking for their first win of the season. We start late in the first period where Ava Stevenson, she grabs the puck along the boards and tries to get it past Jess Shriver. Tries to put it on net, and Lily Fetch gathers the rebound and puts it in for her first NCAA goal. How about that? Maine up 1-0. Continuing into the first frame, Myra Saragelli tries a wraparound chance, but Andres slams the door and denies that opportunity. 1-0 remains the score after the first period. We'll hop right into the second 20 minutes with the Bobcats on the attack this time. It's Maddie Samaskevich who takes a shot out from the point, but the rebound kicks right out back to Maya Labad, who puts it in from a bad angle and ties the game up for the Bobcats. Later in the period, it's the first year, Kaylin LaMarche, with an absolute beauty of a pass to Jess Shriver to put it in the back of the net and give the Bobcats the lead 2-1.
First NCAA point for Kaylin LaMarche. Keenan, what do you think?
Look at the celebration. They're pumped. Heading into the later in the second period, Maine now on the attack. Andres has a desperation pad save to keep this one 2-1 heading into the third period. And I'll warn you right now, Eli, this one was all Quinnipiac Bobcats. Nina Steigoff gets a nice pass from Sadie Peart here, and she puts that puck into the bottom left corner of the net. We'll take a look here on the 3-on-1, but she just shoots it herself. How about that? And the celly, she bounces off the boards to put this one 3-1 Bobcats. The scoring party is not done over yet here in the third period. The transfer students find each other as Julia Nearest dishes a dime to Emerson Jarvis out in front for her first goal as a Quinnipiac Bobcat. Later in the frame, Bobcats continue to put on the pressure as this rebound finds the stick of Kendall Cooper, who puts a snipe into the top left corner and makes this one 5-1 Quinnipiac. And that is where the score will hold for the rest of the game in Hamden. That is a score of 5-1. Quinnipiac sweeps the weekend, and Maine still looking for their win. With the weekend sweep and plenty of other action around women's hockey, let's check out the current USCHO poll. There was no movement for the Bobcats as they stay at number 8 in the nation. Wisconsin comes in at number 1. No surprise there. The Ohio State University find themselves at number 2 after knocking off Quinnipiac last season. Minnesota, Colgate, and Northeastern close out the top 5. The rest of the top 10 features Yale and Minnesota Duluth at 6 and 7. Some familiar ECAC foes for the Bobcats and Clarkson and Cornell round out the top 10 in the nation. With men's hockey season almost here, the ECAC picked their all-conference preseason team. Forward Colin Graff was a unanimous decision after being a first-team All-American last season and coming in at 3rd in the country for points. Joining Graff is Sam Lipkin after being the ECAC's Rookie of the Year last season. As you may remember, Lipkin assisted on both the game-tying and game-winning goal in the national championship game. And Graff was the one that sent it into overtime. There's still a bit of time until ECAC play begins in November, but it's clear the conference respects this Bobcat offense.
Before the season begins on Friday, let's check out the preseason men's ECAC poll. In first, to no surprise, are the defending national champion Bobcats with 10 of the 12 first-place votes. Following the Bobcats are the Cornell Big Red in second place and the Harvard Crimson in third, who received 1 first-place vote. In fourth place is Clarkson, who also received 1 first-place vote. Fifth is St. Lawrence, and sixth is Colgate. The 4 teams that shape out the bottom of the top 10 rankings are RPI, Union, Princeton, and the Bobcats' crosstown rival Yale. From the ice to the hardwood, the volleyball team went on a weekend road trip to New York and faced Iona on Saturday. The Bobcats looked to improve to 5-0 in MAC play, and they sure were able to do that. They took down Iona in 4 sets, winning the final set 32-30 in an exciting finish. Ginevra Giovagnoni led the way with 24 kills, 2 aces, and 13 digs. Iona had 6 service aces, and the Bobcats were able to capitalize on that. The team finished the day without a single service error. Dalma Ganesh set her teammates up on the offensive side of the court with a whopping 49 assists. Following the win on Saturday, the team looked to stay blazing hot against the Manhattan Jaspers. And the Bobcats did it, sneaking away with the win over the Jaspers in 5 sets. The Bobcats won in come-behind fashion after going down 1-0. They took the second set. Manhattan won the third set, putting the Bobcats under pressure, but the team took both the 4th and 5th set, pushing the winning streak to a school record, tying 6-0 in MAC play. The Ganesh twins took control. Yagmir had 14 kills and 2 blocks, and her twin Damla had 2 aces, 47 assists, and 7 digs. Following another undefeated weekend, Gage Kilborn broke down the team's performance in the latest 6th set.
Welcome back to the 6th set. I'm Gage Kilborn, and it was another historic week in Quinnipiac volleyball as the team started off 6-0 in MAC conference play for the first time since 2016. Now, this was a very historic start, as I mentioned before, but now the team's looking for more history by being the first Quinnipiac volleyball program to start 7-0 in program history. But they have a tough task ahead of them as they got to take on a Fairfield Stags team that is much looking for revenge, as a year ago in the MAC title game, Quinnipiac took down Fairfield to move on to the NCAA tournament, winning the match 3-1. And like I said before, it's going to be a very historic, a very big game down at Mahoney Arena. And Quinnipiac's record all-time at Fairfield isn't looking that good, 0-11. And after taking down Fairfield, they've always followed it up with a loss the following time they play them. So Fairfield has always had Quinnipiac's number. Quinnipiac looking for another massive win to really get their season off to a hot start, making it 7-0 to pretty much have a solidified spot of that first place position. That is all I do have of this historic run for the Quinnipiac volleyball team. I'll take it out to you guys out on the Piazza for your stars of the week.
Thanks, Gage. We have moved out to the Piazza here for our stars of the week. My star of the week, Logan Andres. Keenan, I know you're not a big hockey guy here, but she had a fantastic week. She went 2-0 on the weekend. She is the graduate goaltender, the stud of this team. She is the backstop for the team. Now, she only allowed 2 goals in the 48 saves that she had to make. Only 2, Keenan. That is huge. In the final period of Friday's game, the Maine Bobcats really started to take possession, and Logan Andres, like I said, she was there for the team. She kept them in it, and as I showed in the highlight earlier, she had that top-notch diving save. In my opinion, that's an ESPN top 10 save, if you ask me. Then we moved to Sunday's game. In the first period, Maine really took control of that game. They started out very, very strong. But Logan Andres, she was the backstop for the team yet again. She made that team compete. Okay, she held the team in the game. She ended Saturday's game with 28 saves on 29 shots, capping off her stellar weekend. Now, you may not believe me here, but this is my hot take. If she can keep this dominance up, I think that team can go very deep in the ECAC and potentially have a Frozen Four opportunity. Now, Keenan, who's your star of the week?
So my star of the week, I went a little less grativated. Eli, you're a hockey guy, right?
I am.
All the eyeballs are on the hockey teams. They're on the winter sports. In my gut, in my heart, I am a soccer person, and my star of the week is Courtney Chokel right here. The Quinnipiac women's soccer team is 3-0 in MAC play. That's right, 3-0, no losses, no ties. They haven't let up a goal in that. So you're going to think Sofia Lospinoso, easy answer for your star of the week. That defense and that goalie has played together for so long. I don't know if you heard, but Rebecca Cook, little goal scorer last year for the Bobcats, she's gone.
I have heard her name, yeah.
There needed to be a role to fill, and that is exactly what Courtney Chokel has done with all her goals. Eli, this has been a magical start to the show.
It sure has, Keenan, but we must step away. Do not go anywhere.
Coming up, men's soccer played Brider this weekend. We're going to see how they did, how they played, if they can get their first MAC conference win.
Rugby was back in action as they took on Sacred Heart. Don't go anywhere.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Earlier today, the golf team competed in the Hartford Invitational. Anna Lucida finished at the top of the leaderboard for the first time this season. Lucida's victory helped the Bobcats to win the first overall. She finished the day with a total of 47 strokes. Following closely behind her, just one stroke, was Meg Yoshida. Leanne Peralta and Natalie Spakisa both tied with 76 strokes. Today's victory also marked the team's first tournament win of the fall season. The Bobcats will host the Quinnipiac Classic at the Farms Country next Monday. Over to the pitch, the men's soccer team took on Bryant earlier this week. How did they do? Let's roll the highlights. Quinnipiac getting ready to take on the Bryant Bulldogs in a nice Tuesday afternoon game as the team's getting hyped up before the game. Now let's roll into the first half of action. Terrence Wilder Jr. turns the ball over in front of his own net, and the ball finds the foot of Vincent Vaylor, who puts it past Carl Netzel for the first goal of the game, 1-0 Bryant. Now moving on into the second half, Bryant draws a foul at the top of the box, but Vaylor's shot is blocked, but he gets his own rebound and sends this absolute screamer past Carl Netzel for his second goal of the game, 2-0 Bryant. Now we head into the later half of the second. Bryant looking to pull away and looking to capitalize on this corner kick. The ball finds Kieran Sukia, who shoots. Shot is deflected by Jonas Lisho for another Bryant goal. Carl Netzel, moving on into the end of the second half, Carl Netzel allows one goal as Matthew Pisani put the Bobcats up. Quinnipiac would fall to Bryant 3-0.
Men's soccer is still looking for their first win of conference play. This weekend, they welcome in the Bronx of Ryder. After a canisius draw, Quinnipiac is still looking for their first 3 points. Ryder Bronx, one of the best defensive units in the nation in the MAC. Let's hop right into the first 45 minutes. The game begins with a Dario Cavada kickoff, the transfer coming in from UHart. Maybe we'll hear of him later. It starts, Austin is going to get the ball at the top of the box, hand it over to Svekula, and of course, Cavada sends it back to the net. 1-0 Quinnipiac about halfway through the first half. Then, just minutes later, this lead will not stay. A defensive mishap, and it's Babacar Diane finds himself wide open in space and puts it between the legs of Carl Netzel to tie this one up. Heading into the second half, not much happened, but going straight into the last 10 minutes, the substitute, Alex Miller, sends a swinging left-footed shot. This one will just miss. Right back, he's on the ball. He's going to send one over the heads of everybody except Svekula, who will settle it down. Will the keeper settle it? No, and it goes out to Jason Budai, who is going to get a shot at net. And what does he do? It trickles away for a Quinnipiac corner. Another opportunity dead. On the other side of the pitch, a header for the Bronx is going to find Netzel's hands. Miller going to try and cross it. This one will just go out of bounds. A corner, a late corner. One last hope for the Bobcats to get 3 points. Pinto's head is going to go left of the goal, and Quinnipiac is still looking for their first win in MAC play as they draw Ryder over the weekend. Head coach Eric DaCosta still has faith that they can turn it around. Q30's Becky Calkins has more.
It was a tale of two halves today in Hampton as the Quinnipiac Bobcats came away with just 1 point today versus the Ryder Bronx. Bobcats try and flip the switch on this season after just 2 non-conference wins, now moving into their 3rd game of conference play.
We're just going through it right now. We need to, keep our heads down and keep pushing forward, keep believing in who we are, what we do, and play like we did in the second half. And we've got chances to win games.
The Bobcats have struggled finishing in the early parts of this season, which is something Coach Eric DaCosta wants to clean up in MAC play.
I don't think we played well in the first half at all, and we turned the ball over more than we normally do, and pretty carelessly at times as well, which. When a team is in a little bit of a rut, and I'm not sure that we're quite there yet, but we're accustomed to winning games, and we want to put ourselves in those positions, and we haven't won a game in a couple weeks now.
Quinnipiac's last win was September 9th versus LaSalle. That was 6 games ago, and they are still searching for their first win in conference play.
Every game presents a different challenge and a different obstacle, and we played a lot of teams in that stretch since September that really bunker in and make it difficult to lose, and we have to go out and try to get a result there, and that's, like I said, it opens you up, and move forward from there. But we know we had some good results during that span, and we had some ones that we wish we had back.
While the Bobcats haven't won a conference game yet this year, they are still playing competitive in a tough MAC conference that is open for the taking.
None of that matters anymore. What matters is that we've 2 games into the MAC season and we're unbeaten, and we have 2 points out of 6, and there's still a lot to play for, and some results have been a little crazy this year throughout the conference so far in the early days. So I think it's wide open, and as long as we stay true to who we are, we'll be in a good position come November.
The Bobcats will try and gain some momentum in MAC play as they have a 2-game road trip now versus Iona and Marist. For Q30 Sports, I'm Becky Calkins.
Women's soccer also took on Rider this weekend to try and stay perfect in MAC play. Eli, I don't know if you remember who I was talking about 5 minutes ago, but I will remind you. It's Courtney Chokel. The first-year Evelyn Key comes in and sends a beautiful swinging ball into the box for Chokel to finish off for goal number 4 on her season. She was the lone scorer in this one as Quinnipiac defeats Rider in their stadium on their alumni weekend by a score of 1-0. Sofia Lospinoso gets another clean sheet, and they haven't given up a goal in MAC play. Quinnipiac now sits at the top of the table along with Fairfield as the only perfect teams left.
Switching over to the grass field, Rugby took on Sacred Heart looking to capture their first home win. Let's roll the highlights. Back in Hamden, Quinnipiac Rugby played their second home game of the year against Sacred Heart in the wet and muddy conditions. Let's see how they did. Quinnipiac started off strong in the first half with let's move into the first half here, as Cat Story had an opportunity here and gets the first try at the 8-minute mark, giving the Bobcats the 5-0 lead. Now, however, Sacred Heart was ready to regain those points 9 minutes later in the first, as Reese Woods was able to get it back and tie the game at 5. Then shortly after, Brianna Wertenham is tackled down in the try zone to earn that lead back 10-5 Quinnipiac. Coming to the back and forth play, the Pioneers left the first half of the game tied as Fabiola Mullian Foston was dragged down in the try zone. Now heading into the second half, the Bobcats' Cassidy Dugdale scores, heading the lead back to the home team as Quinnipiac takes the lead back 15-10. Adding on to that once again is Cat Story gaining possession and diving into the try zone, followed by Quinnipiac's first conversion of the game. Quinnipiac would take that lead 22-10. Though close to holding Sacred Heart to a second half shutout, the Pioneers managed to score at the 77th minute thanks to Kaylin Aron, followed by the first and only good conversion of the game, finalizing the score 22-17 Bobcats. I'm sorry to say this, Keenan, but we do have to step away.
We'll be right back in 2, but let's take a look at what we got coming up.
Field hockey goes on a weekend road trip to Georgetown and Sacred Heart.
I cannot wait to watch those games. Also coming up, top five plays of the week. I can't wait to talk about those with you. We'll see you right back here.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Thanks for sticking with us. After a disappointing weekend sweep for field hockey 2 weeks ago, the team looked to flip the script as they traveled to Georgetown. This game was all knotted up in the fourth quarter at 2 as Olivia Howard finds a good time for her second goal of the season as the Bobcats took the late lead and held on for the win. Amelia Massarelli would find the back of the net early in this one to keep her name at the top of the Bobcats leaderboards. With this win, Nina Klein's squad moves into a winning record and 4th in the Big East. They'll continue their conference play against UConn on Friday to try and climb the standings. The field hockey weekend did not stop there. The Bobcats made the 40-minute trip to a Sacred Heart for a non-conference match just yesterday. Amelia Massarelli again scored in the first quarter for her 6th goal of the season, but that was the only goal of the game for Quinnipiac. Both Isabella Chamberlain and Amelia Pellegrini scored for the Pioneers, guiding Sacred Heart to a 2-1 victory. Quinnipiac falls below 500 in their overall record to be 4-5 up to this point. They have lost 3 of their last 4 games after UConn on Friday. They will host Maine in yet another non-conference matchup.
Well, Keenan, you just said it. Quinnipiac has a major Big East opponent coming up this Friday. The team will be looking to beat UConn for the first time ever. They are 0-17 all-time against UConn. It will be Nina Klein's first game coaching against her alma mater, where she was a star goalie for the Huskies. She won 3 national championships during her time at UConn before being the starting goaltender for 2. UConn has been facing some struggles of their own this season, sitting at just 4-7 and just 1-2 in the Big East. If the Bobcats can get this win, that would move them to 3-1 in the conference play. Sticking with sneakers, the cross-country team traveled to Lehigh for the Paws Short Invitational. The women's team finished in a stellar 5th place out of 123 teams. The men's team finished in 110 out of 124 teams. The women's team finished with 266 points, which was 250 points less than Yale. The top 5 runners finished within 60 places from each other. The team finished with an average time of 21 minutes and 19.6 seconds in the 6-kilometer run. Rachel St. Germain finished in 30th place and Corinne Barney followed right behind St. Germain in 31st place. The men's and women's team are now going to the New England Championship, with the women's team looking to defend their title. Keenan, it's my first show. Are we done now?
Silly Eli. No. It's top 5 time. Let's see it.
Coming up with play number 5, we'll start things off with field hockey on the road in a tied game against Georgetown. It's going to be the captain, Olivia Howard, sealing the game, scooping the ball into the net for the score. Quinnipiac would take this game 3-2.
Heading over to the M&T Bank Arena, the Bobcats have a dominant day against the Black Bears, and one of the highlights is this Kendall Cooper snipe off the rebound. That will be her 2nd goal of the season. Quinnipiac will lead this one 4-1.
Now moving to the third play, we will move on to the soccer pitch as women's soccer team is tied against Ryder until Courtney Chokel scores off this beautiful Evelyn Keefe pass to secure the Bobcats the 1-0 win.
Back to the ice this time, it's Nina Steigoff on the 3-on-1 break for the Bobcats, and she scores it herself.
Now play number 1, we have the top play of the week as Logan Andres gets it and makes the diving save. In my opinion, this should be on ESPN, Keenan. Now, Keenan, I have to ask, what was your top play? What is your favorite?
I noticed, we were talking about volleyball being on fire. Where were the volleyball highlights? We got to see some volleyball highlights.
As we talked about earlier, Logan Andres, I got to go with the number 1 play.
My goodness gracious. That's all the time we have for on this Monday night. And Eli, that was a hoot.
Yeah, it really was.
That's all we got on this episode of Sports Paws. We'll see you Monday night. I'm Keenan Mills. Alongside me was Eli Ehlers. We'll see you next time.